So we're really lucky to over the weekend we've got a couple of people visiting from a little bit further away, and you'll just explain.
It's cool down. It's on its cool down, so bear with it and then it will go off.
This will go off in a minute. So please welcome Floriane Gaber.
Yes! Alright. I will rush a little bit because we got a lot of things to do tonight, to see. I heard. So it's okay, yes, you can speak it through. So thank you for inviting me, really. Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me. And they asked me to introduce a little bit of how it is to perform on the street in different countries, where it's not so much allowed. Of course, you know that it's not, in France it's not allowed to perform on the street except if you ask for permission in a German festival or from the city council or something like that. But still, it's easy to perform in the street. It's allowed to perform in the street. But there are some countries where it's not, or where it's more difficult. So let's go for a trip. You will see where it would lead us. So how it all, I wrote 2 books about the history of street arts, 40 years of street arts, and how it all started, street arts in the context of the 70s. And this picture is a picture of a demonstration in '68 in Paris. Because in France it started from this point, the demonstration against the Vietnam War and for the peace in Vietnam. And people were demonstrating, and the first artists wanted to join the demonstration. They were musicians, performers, and they started to perform with and in the demonstration, and then they stayed some of them stayed in the street art field. They didn't want to go back to the museum, to the galleries, to the theater, to the venues. They wanted to perform where the people were and more or less involved in the strikes and in struggles, social struggles. For example, in this factory, it was an occupied factory, and one of the oldest street theater company, Théâtre de l'Unité, performed there in this factory. So you may probably recognize Bread and Puppet company from New York. Here it's in '68 in Nancy, the Festival of Nancy, in the east of France. But actually they started, the Living Theatre, Bread and Puppet, started in the '60s in the USA, and then came to France to perform in the different festivals. And so they gave the inspiration to the French artists. So here, for example, it's 62 in Paris. It's an artist called Christo. Maybe you've heard of him because he wrapped all the monuments like in Berlin. And here it's an oil can in a narrow street, and it's pretending to be like the Berlin Wall. So against the Berlin Wall, he builds up a wall with oil cans, and then he asks the people to break it. So it's an opposition to what's happening in Berlin. It was in '62, and the Berlin Wall was broken in '89. Here it's happening, because it's the same time, at that time, the happening by Jean-Jacques Le Bel, and there is a French expression here, who says, avoir la tête dans le sac, well, to have the head under a bag. So definitely he puts the bag on the head of the people, the passers-by, and he drives them with a rope not to get lost, and they go in front of the city hall and take the bag off, so they are out of the bag, their head is out of the bag. And that's the roots where this kind of performance, which are this performance by Jérôme Savary, the Grand Magique Circus, it was one of the first street companies dedicated to street performances in France. So from these roots, in France, they started as saltimbanques, acrobats, street acrobats, with a circus aesthetic. But opposing to the middle class aesthetic and things like that. So circus aesthetic. I rush a little bit because we need to move on. But this was the atmosphere in ex-ville en Provence, ex-ville ouverte au saltimbanque, ex-en-Provence, city open to saltimbanque. It's the first street festival in France from 73 to 76. And this was the atmosphere. It's a big avenue, the main avenue, out of car, no car, and the people dancing, laughing, and the artists performing there. And this is Paris Street. It could be last year, it could be last week. It's always like that in Paris. So the street is dedicated to demonstration. And there are still artists who perform in the demonstration like that. But still, the demonstration is allowed. You must ask permission to organize a demonstration as you ask permission to perform, but actually it's allowed in France. And well, I show you this picture because it's a French company who had taken a quote from the Prime Minister, who had said that we must wash the surrounding of the city, les banlieues. And they definitely wash. They wash everything. They wash the street. They wash the car. They wash the walls. So they take this quote and they do it. Oh wow! Here we are no longer in France. We are almost not in Europe. We are in Ural region in Russia. In Perm. Perm is almost on the border between Europe and Asia. It's most eastern city before Asia. And they wanted to become the cultural capital of the region, so they still organize a festival called Bielorussia, White Nights. And during those White Nights, they organize a street festival, and they asked me and others to program street performances. All right. So when we arrived, we saw that, and that is there in the back. It's the audience, the people who are waiting. For what? They are waiting to enter the Gorod, the city. Which Gorod? Which city? This city. Because in Russia, it's almost forbidden to perform directly in the street, in the public space. You're not allowed. For example, in St. Petersburg, they organized a very huge street festival in a park. And all the gates of the park are closed. So they can control everything and everybody. And they did exactly the same in Peru. They rebuilt a city for the marketing, for food, drinks, and things like that. They rebuilt a city and a stage, of course, for a street festival. Stage. And the stage is just in front of what you see there is the building. The government building. So the police can watch everything and can control everything. So, and here you see there, on the left side, the fence. So the Gorod, the city, is in the surrounded by fences. So you perform indoor or outdoor, but actually. So, what they can do, so it was the first year I went, and then the second year, they had put people controlling the metallic, so no knives, of course, no guns, of course, but no bottles, nothing, control. So, the artists try to do what they can, they try to interact with the audience. For example, this company, Sasha, they organize living installation. So they put some crazy thing like bicycles, and they put the actress in the installation, and then they interact with the audience, and they ask the audience to come with them. Okay, so but in the Gorod, it's a kind of surrealistic performance. Some crazy thing with rabbits and watermelons and well. Or you have a second street company, Russian street company called Mr. Peugeot. And Mr. Peugeot, they come from St. Petersburg. And they use the figure of the clown. Because the clown can be very smiling, but very naughty as well. So here they're childish with his mother, but they can also be tackling, you know. So that's why they are, in a way, in opposition. This is the third one, Liquid Theatre from Moscow, and they are protesting. Well, their act is underlining the fact that there are no flowers and no green areas enough in the city, in the grey cities. That's why they're wearing grey costumes and with flower in their mouth. So it's dance, contemporary, more or less contemporary dance like Pina Bausch style. But you see, on the stage there is also a screen, which is quite normal for a street performance, you know. Their way to think of it. So you are surrounded by fences. They were asked to perform on the stage, but they said no. We want to be on the same level as the people because usually we play on the ground, but yet the screen. It's no longer Russia. It's not far. It's Belarus. In Belarus, on the 9th of May, that's what I saw, military parade, because they were freed. The freedom is not the 8th of May like here, but the 9th of May. So in the city there is a big military parade, and the people must be there with flowers, with flags. So when you are children, you have your teacher who's noting how he or she is here, or he or she is not here. And when you are an adult, an employee, you must be there. Because you have people from the factory or from the city hall who is noting, is here or not. Today I saw it. So, but I was not invited to watch a military parade. I was invited for a festival, a street festival. Well, actually what they did use this date as there is so this military parade is, of course, organized by the government, so they asked the right to organize a cultural parade. And they got the right for this particular day, in the afternoon, after the military parade, to have the people go in the upper city and to have a kind of, well, here it's a kind of Colico. Colico is the name of the company, a kind of Venetian carnival. But also, for example, this is Moustache, Compagnie Moustache, Snore. Moustache, they pretend to be postmen, and they just interact with the audience, and they give them some letters, love letters, or, well, who knows. But can you imagine? No, you cannot, maybe. If you have never been there, you cannot imagine that in Belarus today it's forbidden to walk in the street if you are more than 2 adults together. If you're 3 adults, you can be picked up by the police and brought to the police office. It can be today. So the interaction like that, right? Just pretending to give a card or a letter, it is something. It is something. Also for the artists, not only for the audience, but for the artists. Because in their daily life, it's not possible to interact like that. So here it's Karnavalsky. They are from St. Petersburg, but they performed in Minsk, in Belarus, for free, just to support this effort. So they organize a quiet choir, like angels, just a quiet choir. So they perform, and they ask the people to perform with them. And for those people who are walking like that all day, just to open, just to be together, it's just crazy. And they told me, for example, the young actress, she's less than 30 years, she told me, well, the first time I put my foot on the street, I watched the police, they didn't move. Second, they didn't move. And my shoulder went down, and it changed my life. I can do it. And it's the same for the audience. So that was my translator. Oh, poo. Let's move to another country. I'm sorry, I must rush like Jules Verne, you know, the 80 minutes. No, not even 80 minutes. Well, we are in Kuwait City.
Kuwait City, the issue is different. Kuwait City is, there are the local, native, quite rich people who never walk on the street because it's too hot, more than 50 degrees during the summer. They use their car. With climatization, no worries, they use their car, okay. And they go to malls, and they go to the business, and there are the ordinary people, students, less rich, and even less rich, the Philippine people, Pakistani people, who are servants or waiters or clean the floor and things like that. So they never meet, never meet. It's a very separate society. So the organizer of Adatalat Festival, based on environmental issues, it's normal because it's the oil country, so they need to address environmental issues and to get money from these factories. So actually, the organizers have decided to divide the audience into 4 parts, 4 colors, as you can see. And in each group, they would have ambassadors, rich native people, students, and Philippine, Pakistani people. When the people arrived, they got their color. And they were so surprised to be together in the same group and go and watch the proposal. So it was the starting point here. So it was a wandering proposal here. It was in the garden of the museum, the cello player on a high chair. And it was enlightened by candles in bottles, so by volunteers. But it was a one hour long trip, artistic trip. But it was 1 hour when all those people would be together for the first time of their life for some of them. So it is the issue. And this is tanks, water tanks, drawn, decorated by children about environmental issues. And each of them were from different regions. Well, okay, guess where we are? South America, Chile. We are in Santiago de Chile. And this is 15 minutes before the parade, the street parade. It's very vivid, as you can see. A lot of people walking in the street, a lot of buses, and cars, and bicycles, who knows? No. Actually, you cannot see it because it's very tiny, but here is a policeman, but here is a second one, here. Each 5 meters almost. There is a military or a policeman. So, of course, the underground is closed. You cannot use the underground to go there, no, in case. And actually, this is the university. And 2 days before the parade, they were on strike, protesting against the rights who are too expensive. So the parade will be there, and the flags will be there. So la lucha es constante. You understand? The fight is always fight. Okay, and Paris Parade. Paris is not the city. Paris is the name of the supermarket, of the local supermarket. So it's sponsoring. And Les Plasticiens Volants, it's a French company, French group with inflatables. So, the parade will show Superman, superheroes, and these are the inflatables of the 2 birds from the French group. This is, but you can see where are the audience. The audience is it's a 1.5 kilometer long parade, and there were 400,000 people. So, but behind fences. There, behind fences. I'm sorry, I rush. Iran. Yeah. Iran, I was surprised enough to be invited in a street festival in Marivan, in the Kurdish Iran, near the Iraqi border, and to see that there are more than 200 subsidized street companies and 10 national subsidized festivals, street festivals. Whoops, how comes? Well, actually, the ministry, Iran ministry is very clever. They know that if they want to control, to have an eye on what's going on in the street, they must control it. Control means give the money. Give the money means censorship. It means that when you perform, before performing, you must present what you will perform. You will tell, I will tell this, and you are given or not the money. That means permission to perform. Actually, they are very clever. Like the artists were used to be in the eastern countries before the fall of the wall. For example, this performances. Once upon a time, there was a farmer. She wanted to protect her farm from the I don't know the name in the white forks, you know. Okay. Okay. So she would fight with the gun, but also so they are attacking. She's trying to protect her house, her farm, but also she's protecting herself from the Lord who wants to rape her. And at a certain point, it's too hard, and she wants to commit suicide. Well, actually, this One Upon a Time story is based on real facts. Real facts in the north of Iran today. Actually, there is not the Lord who are invading the farm war. It's the big lobbyists who buy all the fields, and the small farmers commit suicide. So they are protesting, they are addressing an issue, pretending that it's once upon a time. If they would write, we are against that, never they would get the permission, never they would get the money. But once upon a time, and on the same idea, because in the north of Iran, no, they need to move far away to find a way to survive and to work. So here it's another story. It's a shepherd, and he needs to go far away to cross the mountain. So here it's the black is the wind, and the white is the snow. And he has to move, and finally find a new sun. So it's a very poor theater, what Grotowski called the poor theater. And he finds sun, he finds a new field, and he can move on. This one is a performance in Iran, the same festival, but from the Gulf region. That's why she's wearing a mask, because there it's not a theater mask. All the women must wear that, and not pink one. Usually it's blue one or it's black one. So this is a story called the Pearl Fisher. So actually they dive to get the pearl from the sea. And there is a tradition. If one baby is ill, the mother goes to the pearl fisher and asks him to dive. And if he gets the pearl, the baby will be safe. So, well, it's based on a tradition. But actually, it's not only a tradition. It's real that nowadays a lot of babies are ill because their parents are brother and sister or cousins, and of course it provokes a lot of diseases amongst the children, amongst the babies. So they tell this story. The white baby is ill. So they are working, going like that through the rules and the censorship with tradition or with stories. But also it's a last one from Iran. Also they can address in a more experimental or contemporary aesthetic. This is against the war Iran-Iraq. This is the baby. So the baby was there and the baby is dead. And this is a performance about drug. This guy has taken, for real, all the stuff from the park, city park. It's full of well, you understand what I mean, okay? I cannot explain it in English, but actually everything good for drug is there. So he addresses more or less directly there the drug. But can you look at the face of the audience? Is it real? Is it not real? Is he a real drug man or not? And he asked a young man from the audience to come, and he will have him have this experience. And then he will explain to people why he's doing that. If he would have said, well, the municipality doesn't do anything against drug, yeah, it wouldn't have been permitted. But since it is, well, you see, it's so dirty. Yeah, it's only about dirtiness in the park, so he can speak about that, about the issue. Where are we? Where are we? Maybe it's the end of the trip? Is it the end of the trip? It is the end of the trip! Almost half an hour.
But that's fantastic, and I'm so sorry it was a bit of a rush, but we have a bit of time for a question
Exactly.
or two. So
no, I thought, because I have also two pictures from South Africa, but I did not let you show them. They use big hats to go to the suburbs and to address the issue of SIDA AIDS, but with old grandmother, grandfather, and the family, and blah 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 blah, but with big puppets as you have here. Okay, thank you.
I don't know if anyone has any questions or thoughts or anything they want to chuck in at this time, really. Pascal does.
I guess it was just sort of pointing. It's a very sobering to think about how lucky we are in comparison to, say, artists in a place like Belarus, where you're just to be interacting with somebody in a public space could be hazardous to your freedom, and so it's thank you for sharing those stories and perspectives, because I think it's good for us to be reminded of what we have and to value that. And I guess I don't know if you how much interaction you had with those artists, but are they able to live as, are they able to live through selling their art, or presumably they will have to hold down other jobs and it's a very sort of part-time activity?
In Belarus, yes, it's the case. They cannot live from their art. They are teachers or waiters or whatever, or sociologists or informaticians. They have a side job. In Iran, for example, no, they live from their job because, as I told, they are subsidized companies, and the Ministry of Culture and Religion, it's culturel et cultuel, religion and culture in the same ministry. So they give the money, so it's okay. They can sell their performances and they can tour, and it's quite well organized. In Russia, the people who I know they have also a second job, but mainly in the for example, they are teaching to art to children, or they are, for example, working and getting the money from cinema. They work in the cinema, and then they can put the money in their street arts. Where did we go? Well, in Chile, actually, in Chile it's quite hard to work because I showed you the French company, but I met the Chilean companies. It's quite hard. But what they do is they exchange. So they perform and they are given some food, for example. That's how they work. Where did we go? Russia, Belarus, Belarus, yes, I told.
And Kuwait?
Kuwait. In Kuwait it's very interesting. Kuwait is really interesting because the artistic director of the festival is a photographer. is an artist himself, and he chose the street and he chose open air because he loved to take the pictures outdoor, in the desert. He loved the light, and that's why he wanted to share with the people. Because what happens is that in Kuwait City there are circus performances or events, but in the malls, so not outdoor. This festival, this trip, artistic trip, was outdoor, really outdoor. And actually he works for the ministry as well, and is building residency programs, teaching programs for artists from Kuwait City who will develop. It's very young, and they will develop their skills and their willingness to perform outdoor. So they are professional artists and they are developing. Outdoor is something more in addition. Yeah.
So that means that the state is somehow open and young for this kind of and a bit progressive.
Exactly, and as I mentioned, it's through the title of the festival is a festival of Earth, and it's based on environmental issues, and they can get the money from the oil companies, because the oil companies are polluting, so in a way they need to show that they are aware of the situation. And also they get the money from UNESCO, they get the money from big foundations who are dealing with environmental issues. And it's a way also to put the money on the table for residencies, for teaching programs, educational programs, and anything like that. It's very interesting, very and quite young and quite energetic. Yeah.
Can I ask something? You started in Vietnam,
Yeah.
demonstrations against Vietnam. What are the parallels you see with 1968 and now?
Where?
Well, worldwide with Trump and with, Europe, Brexit and Trump.
Yeah.
And, there's an upswelling at very different times, but I think what do you see as the similarities?
Actually, I would love that the diggers, have you heard of the diggers?
Yeah.
Diggers in San Francisco in '64. I would love that the diggers still exist, but I'm not sure.
What is it?
What is it? Actually, would you like to tell the people?
The diggers, there were diggers here in Britain,
Ah.
a digger movement. The diggers, I think the diggers is a movement from 17th century in Britain.
Oh yeah. Mm.
That's what I know about it. I don't know about the diggers
In San Francisco, the
San
same
Francisco is
name.
different.
Actually, the diggers, they decided that everything would be free, should be, and
Yeah.
would be free.
Yeah.
Food would be free, clothes would be free, medical health care would be free. So they organized each day in the Golden Park in San Francisco, free food. They grabbed the vegetables, bread and things like that, not sold by the groceries. They cooked it and they distributed the food for free. Same with the clothes. The same with medical care. Dentist, medicine man came for free and helped the people because in USA it's still difficult to have medical care. And so the diggers were also artists. Peter Coyote, I don't know if you know the actor. Peter Coyote was one of the famous, strongest diggers. They used to perform commedia dell'arte. Commedia dell'arte is a way to you have Arlecchino, you have Dottore, so you can fight the power. Somehow in the same way as in Iran, it's a story. And actually I don't know what's happening nowadays in USA. I don't know if in the big protests, because Grand Puppet, they used to be in the protests, in the march for the civil rights. I don't know. I don't know today if there are still people from really on the ground. We heard of the mainstream actors and stars and things like that protesting, but actually I really don't know. But it's a good question.
And the situationists too, of course, which a lot of stuff comes from
Yeah.
68.
Exactly.
I think we need a new situationist model.
Exactly.
But we need something to fight against first, because that's what I was thinking as well. Like, you know, how edgy is our outdoor or street fit or whatever these days? What edge do we, is it because we don't have anything to push against? But are the coming times going to be occasions where actually we do start to have something to push against, and maybe we get a little bit more of an edge? But it's a bit like what you say, what's the comparison? Maybe the comparison's not there now, but I think it depends what happens over the next few years, whether there might start to be something that we have to fight for. Because let's face it, we have it pretty easy. And so what are we really fighting for? So do we really have to push like this? Because, you know, we get our Arts Council funding or we get our whatever it is, and actually it's pretty easy. So,
Can I ask you this?
yeah, go, yeah.
We can't do politics, right?
Because it seems easy, but actually it's not easy because you are pushing against something that is not visible. I mean, in the time there was like very clear barrier of be or not to be.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you are not even allowed to exist, or this was a fight about the ground. But now you were given a free. You are given the land, you are given the frame, and you are allowed. So actually, it's more difficult to fight against this, because what is the cause? Is the last. Is the vacuum of the cause.
Yeah.
I mean, it somehow, I remember just one incident that I think for us in Egypt it's against those to demonstrate, especially after the revolution. But then, at a certain point, they said, no, stop, you can demonstrate, but go to a certain very far part and you can demonstrate there. So somehow it just like feel like this, okay? So you are allowed to perform, you can do whatever you want, but in a certain way where there is no cause to push for. Because the main thing was to be, is not anymore. And I think this is how, when the system is very old and very well developed somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, just like it's an external eye to it. So it's like, not easy, but it's kind of, so you are very upset not to subsidize and not to have something, okay, take money and take a space and just perform.
And what I would add is that
I just feel like this.
I really hope that we will not have Marine Le Pen. And the last part of my sentence will be, and if we vote for and not against.
So Floriane is here
Until Sunday.
Till Sunday. She will also be running a smaller session, a more practical